their father was never involved or try to get involved once they become world champion and they start making money. So it's dope that my dad been with me from the start. I call my dad actually my shadow because, he don't say really too much. I want to fight somebody who's gonna get me up for the challenge. And they said, what about Tim Tszyu? And I look forward for that. I've been doing that since I was an amateur fighting in other people's countries.
Tim Tszyu's extended hand dangled in the air as Errol Spence Jr. delivered one of boxing's most bone-chilling stare-downs in recent memory. This wasn't your typical pre-fight photo opportunity where fighters exchange pleasantries before the cameras. Spence completely rejected the gesture, creating a moment so frigid and intense it seemed to paralyze the entire corridor. The tension radiated through every frame, signaling this wasn't mere promotional theater that would be forgotten by bell time. This was a complete declaration of warfare that sent massive tremors throughout the boxing community. Tszyu had been loudly proclaiming he would force Spence into retirement, boasting about ending a legendary career before even entering the squared circle. Errol clearly wasn't entertaining any of that nonsense. The hallway atmosphere was suffocating, thick enough to slice with a blade. Everyone witnessing this exchange understood immediately that this training camp transcended a simple comeback story. This was about absolute annihilation, about delivering a message that would reverberate across the entire division. Spence appeared motivated at a level we haven't witnessed in years, completely prepared to make Tszyu suffer for every disrespectful syllable uttered during this build-up. The verbal warfare has escalated to absolutely explosive proportions, reaching thermonuclear degrees of disrespect. Tszyu boldly labeled Spence as trash, and you need to really absorb the significance of that statement. He didn't suggest Spence was declining or past his peak like typical boxing rhetoric. He outright called him trash, a remark that Errol absorbed extremely personally and understandably so. Spence revealed in interviews he was initially scheduled to face Jermell Charlo, which would have created a massive American super fight. However, when Tszyu began publicly degrading his reputation, openly disrespecting him across interviews and social platforms, the focus completely transformed. This has evolved beyond mere business promotion. This has surpassed standard promotional hype completely. It's about silencing an arrogant contender who genuinely believes he can bypass the hierarchy and disrespect a unified champion without facing severe repercussions. Spence has competed internationally since his amateur days, traveling globally and proving his worth on foreign territory where audiences weren't supporting his efforts. Therefore, the pressure of performing on major stages before hostile crowds doesn't intimidate him whatsoever. Actually, he flourishes under competitive heat, drawing energy from challenges and adversity. The more Tszyu talks, the more garbage he spews, the more concentrated and determined Spence becomes. He wants to demonstrate beyond any reasonable doubt that this sport has serious levels that Tszyu simply hasn't achieved yet. The passion remains burning brightly, his boxing love continues blazing intensely, and pursuing what he loves eternally brings him tremendous fulfillment. On the heavy bag, Spence operates like an absolute machine, and that description isn't hyperbole. He's drilling with razor-sharp blistering velocity, delivering tight surgical combinations that display his elite conditioning and technical excellence. Every punch carries deep intentionality and purpose. There's zero wasted motion whatsoever throughout his training sessions, nothing that doesn't fulfill a specific objective. His movement remains controlled yet explosive simultaneously, showcasing all the remarkable work Derek James invested in perfecting his footwork and positioning. The rhythm he maintains suggests a fighter completely locked into championship-level preparation, operating at frequencies only elite athletes can achieve. He's not mindlessly pounding the bag to accumulate rounds. He's visualizing Tszyu's face with every strike, imagining impact moments, seeing the fight unfold through each combination. His preparation intensity sends crystal clear signals that he plans to control every second of the approaching fight, eliminating any doubt about superior fighting ability.
I take care of myself, so I'm able to take care of them and just loving them. And that's why I have training camps at home, so I can spend more time with them. And
Sean Porter and other boxing insiders who maintain their fingers on the sport's pulse have detected a significant energy shift surrounding this matchup. After observing both camps during media events, press conferences, and face-offs, there's an undeniable sensation that the atmosphere grows increasingly personal each passing day. Porter specifically mentioned being amazed by interactions he witnessed firsthand, suggesting that body language between both teams communicates volumes about what's truly happening beneath the surface. Even minor moments that casual fans might overlook, like that rejected handshake we discussed, or lingering glares lasting seconds too long, are fundamentally altering the entire matchup's mood. This isn't friendly competition where fighters respect each other and share dinner afterward. This represents a genuine collision of legacies, egos, and two men who believe they're destined for greatness while viewing the other as an obstacle. The boxing world is beginning to fully recognize and acknowledge this might be one of the year's most genuinely intense matchups, driven not by manufactured promotional conflict, but by authentic dislike and an overwhelming mutual need for respect.
Life is about consistency, right? And so, regardless of who or what, one fighter was consistent, the other fighter wasn't, or whatever the case may be.
Paulie Malignaggi, maintaining his analytical perspective, provided a more business-focused viewpoint of the situation, noting this fight makes absolute perfect sense from pure business standpoints when properly examined. Both fighters operate under the PBC umbrella domestically, meaning politics align perfectly, and timing couldn't be superior for a massive showdown capturing worldwide boxing fan attention. However, Malignaggi, being the thoughtful commentator he remains, also raised genuinely important questions about what's actually remaining mentally and physically for Spence at this career stage. That represents the million-dollar question, doesn't it? You simply cannot determine how accumulated years of high-level warfare, brutal training camps, and the physical taxation of world championship status have affected him until that opening bell rings, and he's actually exchanging leather inside. Simultaneously, Tszyu's team has faced legitimate criticism regarding how they've managed his career trajectory, especially with instances of leading him into difficult fights on relatively brief notice, without adequate preparation time. This matchup features two men at critical career crossroads, where the victor advances toward another world title opportunity and mainstream relevance, while the loser potentially confronts an uncertain future filled with questions about what's next and whether they can ever reach those heights again.
That's what we train for, right? So that's what you gotta take into understanding. I mean,
the strategy to demolish Tszyu involves specifically exploiting the Australian's natural aggressiveness and forward pressing style. Tszyu is renowned throughout the boxing world for his relentless pressure and high volume punching, constantly advancing and delivering combinations that overwhelm opponents. But Derek James, with his decades of experience and tactical brilliance, believes that Spence's precision and elite-level counter-punching capabilities will serve as the ultimate equalizer in this matchup. By maintaining tight defensive positioning and being deliberate with his strikes, selecting shots carefully rather than throwing for volume, Spence can catch Tszyu as he advances with reckless abandon. The speed drills they've practiced daily are specifically designed with one objective in mind: to beat Tszyu to the punch, to land first and cleanly before the Australian can establish his offensive rhythm. It's entirely about timing and surgical precision over raw aggression and hoping something connects. If Spence can establish his rhythm early in the fight, controlling pace and forcing Tszyu to fight at his tempo rather than vice versa, he can dictate every moment of the fight and force Tszyu into making critical mistakes that can be exploited. This tactical approach, this chess match within the violence, is where James genuinely believes the fight will be determined.
Of course, Errol didn't train for that Terence.
No, I don't know. He did train. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying because I can only see. I'm just talking about we're not taking anything from him.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, and it's not for me to be talking about what happened because I don't know.
Spence's ring return is being powered by genuine joy and passion that was noticeably absent in his recent outings leading to the Crawford fight. He's expressed across multiple interviews how truly grateful he feels to box again, really embracing the happiness and fulfillment that comes from pursuing what feeds his soul and makes him feel alive. This mental transformation, this perspective and approach change actually represents a key component of what Derek James calls the crush plan. Consider this: a fighter no longer burdened by crushing expectation weights from fans, media, and promotional companies, but instead driven purely by craft love and competitive joy, presents an absolutely terrifying prospect for any opponent. He's not fighting for fans who purchase tickets or media members who write stories about him. He's fighting for himself, for his own sense of purpose and fulfillment. This internal motivation, this fire originating from within rather than external validation, often proves much more powerful than any external pressure could ever become. And it's something Derek James has deliberately nurtured and cultivated throughout this entire training camp, ensuring Spence stays connected to that joy and remembers why he originally fell in love with boxing. The physical conditioning Spence displays in training footage and public workouts serves as genuine testament to his incredible work ethic and craft dedication. Despite the extended layoff from active competition, dealing with injuries and taking time to heal both physically and mentally, he appears in absolutely incredible shape currently. This completely destroys all those theories and rumors circulating on social media suggesting he had deteriorated during his time away or wasn't approaching training seriously. He's lean, muscular, and moving with fluidity and grace that suggests his body has completely recovered from past traumas, including that horrific car accident that could have terminated not just his career, but his life. James insists, and conviction resonates in his voice when he states it, that Errol is training as if his life depends on this fight's outcome. They aren't taking any preparation shortcuts whatsoever. From explosive athleticism, visible in his conditioning drills, to absolutely flawless rhythm and timing on focus mitts, everything indicates a fighter genuinely ready for elite-level competition at the sport's highest level. He's not returning to serve as some stepping stone for a young lion seeking name recognition. He's returning to remind everyone watching, every fan, every media member, every divisional fighter, exactly why he was the king and why he still belongs at the top. Tszyu's confidence might very well represent his greatest asset entering this fight, but it could also potentially become his ultimate downfall if he's not careful. By openly questioning Spence's health, sharpness, and reflexes after the layoff, he might be seriously underestimating the heart and determination of a true champion who's been counted out previously. Spence has heard everything before, trust me. The doubts about his chin after getting dropped, questions about his stamina in later rounds, concerns about whether his hunger remains after achieving so much. Every time he's been cornered by critics and doubters, he's emerged swinging even harder. The plan Derek James carefully laid out is specifically designed to turn Tszyu's confidence against him, to weaponize it. By showing him a Spence version that is somehow faster, stronger, sharper, more focused than the one who fought Terence Crawford, they genuinely hope to break Tszyu's spirit early in the fight, making him realize he's completely overwhelmed. It's a psychological battle as much as a physical one, a clash of wills and mental fortitude that will be waged alongside the ring action.
One.
Errol Errol Spence Jr.'s legacy is absolutely on the line here, and he understands it better than anyone. He's completely aware that a loss in this fight would likely terminate his time at the sport's very summit, closing doors on any remaining championship aspirations. That's precisely why gym intensity has been so incredibly elevated, operating at levels that even veteran trainers find remarkable. He's not seeking a scorecard victory or a decision that gets his hand raised. He's seeking a statement, a defining moment that will be replayed for years. He wants to crush Tszyu in a way that leaves absolutely no doubt whatsoever about his place in boxing history, and his standing among elite welterweights and junior middleweights of his generation. Derek James pushes him constantly to discover that extra gear, that championship instinct, and killer mentality that has carried him through so many difficult nights when odds seem stacked against him. This fight represents the culmination of years of hard work, devastating setbacks, and incredible triumphs. For Spence, it's about proving once and for all that the truth remains the most dominant and feared force in the ring. As the fight date approaches on the calendar, excitement and anticipation are reaching absolute fever pitch throughout the boxing community. Boxing fans on social media and in gyms worldwide are completely divided on who will emerge victorious when the final bell sounds, with some supporting the active and hungry Tszyu, who's been consistently fighting top competition, and others backing the more experienced and naturally powerful Spence, who possesses championship DNA. The promotional support for the bout is absolutely massive, with PBC implementing all available resources, ensuring the entire world will be watching and paying attention when these two titans finally collide in the ring. The atmosphere is building toward what promises to be a heated, intense showdown, where confidence, pride, legacy, and the division's future will all be simultaneously on the line. Both fighters stand at absolutely pivotal points in their respective careers, which makes this one of the most discussed and anticipated matchups in recent memory across the sport. The countdown has officially commenced, the promotional machine is in full gear, and tension is absolutely palpable every time these two occupy the same building.
Come on, Good, there you go. Let's go.
While the entire boxing world debates on podcasts and social media whether Spence still possesses what made him great, his head trainer Derek James operates with surgical level intensity and focus in the gym. James isn't just coaching or going through training camp motions, he's sharpening a weapon he genuinely believes remains absolutely the best in the business at this weight class. The plan to crush Tszyu isn't some closely guarded secret being hidden from the world. It's built on a solid foundation of what James describes as a Midwest mindset and work ethic. What does that mean exactly? It means never ever underestimating the challenge ahead and training as if every opponent is the greatest fighter to ever walk the earth. They aren't viewing Tszyu's recent victories as any kind of deterrent or reason for intimidation. Instead, they carefully examine how to systematically dismantle him with relentless excellence pursuit that begins in the morning's darkest hours when most fighters remain sleeping, when dedication truly reveals itself.
You heard Errol, you were trying to be respectful as you were staying the entire time, and then he came at you the way he came at you. How do you react to that?
Look, I've been brought up with humility and respect, you know, but I guess it doesn't work on both sides. That's fine, I see how it is. It's all good.
As you stated up there as well, you know, he brought up your father, that you're not your father's that, and you said it yourself. It's been said in every single fight. Is that still something that kind of bothers you, that people want to bring that up?
No, it doesn't bother me. It just shows their insecurity. You know, that's all right. You know, that's fine. What my father's done in his career, it's...
Derek James's role in this camp simply cannot be overstated or emphasized enough. He is literally the architect of the entire plan to neutralize Tszyu's strengths and exploit his weaknesses. By focusing intensely on discipline and relentless excellence pursuit in every preparation aspect, he has kept Spence completely grounded and laser focused on the task at hand. James doesn't care slightly about social media hype or press conference trash talk. He only cares about one thing, the performance on fight night when lights are brightest. He's been in corners for some of boxing history's biggest fights, working with world champions and Hall of Famers, and he knows exactly what it takes to properly prepare a fighter for this elite competition level. His guidance is the steady hand Spence needs as he carefully navigates his way back to the boxing world's very top after time away.
Rejuvenated, I hope he is. When he fought Terence Crawford, I felt like he looked a bit dizzy, you know, so I don't know. So hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he's at his peak. That's what I expect.
Tim Tszyu is fighting for much more than just a record victory. He's fighting for global boxing community respect that has sometimes overlooked him. He's lived in the enormous shadow of his father Costia's legendary legacy for an extended time, constantly being compared and asked how he measures up. Beating a name like Errol Spence Jr., a unified champion and one of boxing's biggest names, would cement his own historical place separate from his father's accomplishments. He's hungry in a way only young fighters chasing greatness can be. He's active, consistently fighting and staying sharp, and genuinely dangerous to anyone in the division. His training sessions show a fighter completely locked into championship-level preparation, with speed and accuracy being sharpened to absolute perfection daily. He believes with every fiber that this is his moment to take over the division and retire a legend in the process. This clash of motivations, this collision of a young lion and experienced champion, is exactly what makes the fight an absolute must-watch event for any true sport fan who appreciates high-level boxing. The battle of mindsets will be just as important, if not more so, than the battle of physical punches being thrown. Spence's refusal to shake hands at that face-off was clear evidence he's in a dark mental place, focused entirely on destruction and making a statement. Tszyu's constant chatter in interviews and on social media indicates a fighter who genuinely believes his time has finally arrived to claim the throne. When these contrasting energies meet in the ring's center, something absolutely must give. One mindset will prove superior. Will Spence's vast championship-level experience and proven power overwhelm the younger challenger? Or will Tszyu's consistent activity and unshakable confidence carry him to his life's biggest victory and launch him into superstardom? The entire boxing world anxiously awaits that answer, and the build-up's sheer intensity suggests we're destined for an absolute classic fight that will be remembered for years.
This weekend, bruh, it's not a lot of times that I do what I do, and I'm like, well, I can't say it ain't a lot of times, but because I know how good I am, but there's times where I'm like, even I blow myself away. And I mean, the stuff that I did with these guys this weekend, I blew myself away. I'm still talking about it to my lady and everything. I'm still hyped up about it. So you guys be looking out for those interviews. Shout out to Fox Australia, man. They're going to bless us. They're going to put together the finished product, and they're going to give it to us so that we can put it on our platform, which to me is amazing. I'm super grateful for them. That fight takes place July 25th over here, 26th over there. And we've been talking about this fight. I think we pretty much knew that it was coming. But now that it's here, you got a chance to interview those guys the other day, or at least be in the crowd of people interviewing them. Did you hear anything, see anything that, make you feel any sort of way? You feel any sort of way at this point?
This fight isn't just a simple ring return after some time off. It's a statement about what remains when all hype and promotion clears away. Derek James has built a comprehensive blueprint based on discipline, speed, technical precision, and complete refusal to acknowledge outside world and media critic doubts. Whether Tim Tszyu can handle the immense pressure of facing a legendary champion with something to prove and burning desire to reclaim his spot is genuinely the million-dollar question everyone is asking. Errol Spence Jr. isn't returning for a paycheck or to stay relevant. He's returning to reclaim his divisional throne and silence everyone. Every single person who whispered he was finished, done, washed up. On fight night, when they finally step into that ring, the truth will finally be revealed to the world, and the entire boxing community will see if the truth can still crush the competition and leave a trail of broken dreams and defeated opponents behind him.
It's not an easy thing to talk about. I'm concerned and skeptical of Spence heading into this fight. I think something about his speech, and people say he's always had that Texas drawl. After the car accident, he had to get different teeth put in. And he said that affected his speech too. And I'm reminded of fighters like James Toney, who even when their speech wasn't quite the same at cruiserweight that it was at middleweight or super middleweight, he was still whipping ass and still beating Vasily Jirov and knocking out Evander Holyfield. But you notice the difference in his speech pattern. And with Spence, that's something I picked up on. Other people that I talk to don't seem to pick up on it the way I do. They say, hey, he's Spence. He's always talk chill and everything. I remember a segment of the audience thinking that on fight night against Terence Crawford.
The secret behind Spence's preparation lies in his completely new training environment and approach. Unlike previous camps where he might have been distracted by the boxing world's circus atmosphere, all the media obligations and promotional appearances, he's now training at home in his own city. This shift was a very deliberate choice to keep his family close during this critical time. He wants his son to have actual real memories of him being present, not just stories told by strangers or videos watched years later. This emotional anchor has given Spence a profound sense of peace and balance that makes him even more dangerous in the ring. When a fighter is genuinely happy and fulfilled outside the ropes, when their personal life is in order, they become an absolute nightmare inside them. He's taking care of himself mentally and emotionally so he can take care of his legacy professionally, and that begins with a dominant performance against the Australian star.
You know, it ain't a tune-up, but it's, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's a good little fight for him. Man been out 3 years. Tim Tszyu been active. Former world champion. You know, he ain't going to get nobody we don't know. I can't do nothing but salute him, take my hat off for him, and see how he go to work. I think he going to be fine. He looked like he's in good shape. You know, he ain't look all out of shape. He looked like, you know, he looked good. You know, he looked mentally all there. And I mean, shit, them little 3 years, like I said, I told him as soon as it happened, I said, okay, he had other stuff going on, you know, other stuff going on. That was a 5-year accumulation, a lot of stuff he did going through the rigmaroles with Bud, trying to figure out if they was going to fight and building up his reputation and all this stuff. That was a lot. He's been doing this since 2012. That was a lot, you know, so.
Derek James is emphasizing consistency and discipline over everything else in this camp. He believes with absolute conviction that a fighter's performance directly reflects their discipline and focus during preparation's grind when cameras aren't rolling. In the gym, Spence is being pushed through relentless drills and explosive mitt work that would absolutely break a lesser man, crushing his will and body. The goal is to sharpen his speed and power to a point where Tszyu won't even see the punches coming until it's too late. James isn't interested in what happened previously, whether victories or setbacks. He's focused entirely on present moment precision. Every movement is calculated, every combination is crisp and flows naturally, and the rhythm they're building together is designed to completely overwhelm Tszyu from the opening bell of the very first round.
Contact with life too. It ain't just about us and what we want to do and what we want to see. He got a life. He in there, you know, so he did right, and I'm glad to see him come back.
Did you see if there's like a viral clip of him, you know, Tim Tszyu trying to shake his hand and he's like, nah, you know, I'm not shaking your hand. You know, I've been hearing you talking about you're going to retire me and all that. Did you see the clip?
No, I didn't see that. When they was in the hallway?
Yeah.
Don't pull it up, Neil. It's good. They was in the hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, that's what Tim Tszyu supposed to say, you know. So I don't understand why everybody getting upset by stuff they supposed to say. You know, that's what you're supposed to say. You're my, but it's still, you know, we still, you know,
you my peer, you still a fellow fighter, so.
The footage emerging from camp that has been released publicly is absolutely terrifying for anyone in the 147-pound division who might be watching. Spence is unleashing hard punches that showcase raw power and intensity levels that define championship preparation at the highest level. His speed on the mitts is genuinely blinding, blending sharp technique with explosive athleticism that many people thought he had permanently lost after the accident and layoff. James is guiding him through every movement, ensuring his rhythm is absolutely flawless and his timing is perfect. This isn't the Spence version that looked somewhat vulnerable against Terence Crawford. This is a refreshed, regenerated athlete who is grateful to box again and has rediscovered his love for the sport. The joy he feels in the gym is directly translating into a terrifying performance level that should have the entire division on notice.
Right? Use your common sense. That Tim is a PBC guy in the States. These guys are PBC guys. You look for the correct possible matchup at this stage in their careers. It starts to make sense, So, you don't
see it.
How do I see it? I don't know. I mean, Spence hasn't fought in decades, feels like, even Charlo. So I don't know. How do you know what's left out of those guys mentally, physically? You don't know, Obviously with Tim, there's a lot of question marks. He's just come back with a win, but at least Tim is trying to stay busy and active. With those guys, it's hard to say. You haven't seen them. You don't know how their training's going, if their training is even going, and how they are mentally and physically at this point in their life and their careers.
Tim's team copped a lot of criticism, his old team, should I say, about walking him into people like Fundora on short notice, or Murtazalayev unknown, or taking a rehydration clause on the IBF, and things like that.
Tim Tszyu isn't sitting idly though, just waiting for fight night. He's been putting in his own serious work in Australia, showing off sharp, high-level mitt work that reflects his own hunger and dedication. Tszyu has been extremely vocal about Spence's perceived vulnerabilities since the Crawford fight, even going as far as suggesting that Errol looked dizzy and disoriented during his last outing. These comments have added a personal animosity layer to the fight that hasn't been seen in boxing for years. Tszyu is openly questioning whether the sharpness and control that once defined Spence are still there, whether he's the same fighter who dominated the division. He respects the challenge and what Spence has accomplished, but he's absolutely not afraid of the big name. This clash of confidence, this collision of belief systems is what makes the matchup so intriguing to hardcore boxing fans, as both men genuinely believe they are catching the other at the perfect time in their careers.
So, I mean, yes, you speak about him sitting on, but is it not just rewriting the books again?
With Spence, you don't know what's left. He's not looked very good, so it might be one of those cases where you're catching him at the right time. But then again, Spence may feel that about Tszyu as well, right?
Yeah.
You might catch him at the right time. It's one of those things where the matchup makes sense because both guys might be catching one another at the right time. But you're gonna get a winner out of the fight, and the winner can, move on to possibly a title fight. As far as the criticism for Tim and his team, there's going to be a lot of opinions, but the person that has skated the most criticism, that deserves the most criticism.
One of the biggest talking points surrounding Spence on social media and in boxing circles has been his speech pattern in recent interviews. Critics have pointed to his interviews, claiming he sounds noticeably different since the horrific car accident or the Crawford fight, suggesting potential brain damage. But those close to him, like trainer Derek James and others in his inner circle, say people are making something out of absolutely nothing, creating controversy where none exists. Spence has always had a slow Texas drawl. It's part of his natural speech pattern, and he's even mentioned that having different teeth put in after the accident changed the way he physically speaks. It's a classic case of people desperately looking for a reason to doubt a champion who has accomplished so much. Despite what critics say, in the gym his mind is as sharp as it has ever been, and his ring IQ remains at an absolutely elite level. He isn't worried about how he sounds in interviews. He's worried about how he hits when it matters most. The 5 years of accumulated stress on Spence's body and mind absolutely cannot be ignored when evaluating where he is today. When you factor in the car accident that nearly killed him, the eye injury that threatened his career, and the massive weight cuts he's had to endure repeatedly, he's been through the absolute ringer. Derek James noted that Spence has been doing this at the highest level since 2012, and the toll of building and maintaining a reputation as one of the best can be immense. But the layoff and recent time away from active competition might have actually been a blessing in disguise rather than a setback. It allowed his body to properly heal and his mind to reset from the constant pressure. He's coming into this fight with a sense of perspective and appreciation that he didn't have before. He's not just fighting for a belt or money, he's fighting for the fulfillment of his spirit, which makes him a genuinely unpredictable force. Derek James is making absolutely sure that Spence treats Tszyu like the ultimate threat and doesn't take anything for granted. The Midwest mindset dictates that you never take anything for granted, no matter how confident you feel. They aren't looking at Tszyu's loss to Sebastian Fundora as a sign of weakness or vulnerability. They are looking at his consistent activity and time in the ring as a serious challenge. While Spence has been away, healing and recovering, Tszyu has been actively fighting top-tier competition and staying sharp. This disparity in activity is exactly what James is using to motivate Errol every single day. The plan is to use Spence's superior pedigree and championship experience to completely neutralize Tszyu's momentum. They are preparing specifically for the absolute best version of Tim Tszyu, knowing that anything less will result in a very short night for the Australian challenger.